What's up, All In League, and what's going on my YouTube, folks? This is me giving my Week 15 preview for my Madden League that I run. It's a money league that I run called All In. Right now, we're getting close to the playoffs in Week 15. Just to give you guys a breakdown of what happened over the last week, there has been some changes in this NFC and AFC playoff picture. We're going to start off with the NFC first, though. Back at the number one seed is the Los Angeles Rams. They were the number two seed last week. Number two seed is going to be the New Orleans Saints. They got a big win against the Brooklyn Bears, who's the number one seed last week. He fell to number three. Brooklyn is now the third seed in the NFC as well. The number four seed is now the Detroit Lions. That I was playing how the dynamic changed in the last couple of days due to everything that's going on. As far as the fifth seed, the Philadelphia Eagles are now the fifth seed. They got to win against the New York Giants to jump ahead of Arizona and the New York Giants. The sixth seed is now Arizona, and the seventh seed is the New York Giants. Let's talk about how this happened. Let's talk about the changes. So, number one, because of the Rams only being the only team in the NFC with 12 wins, they're the number one seed. As far as the other seeding, the Saints is number two now because of the head-to-head victory over the Brooklyn Bears. The reason that Brooklyn fell to number three is with the head-to-head loss situation with New Orleans, and also they have two losses in the NFC, whereas the NFC losses, I don't think New Orleans have but one NFC loss, if I'm not mistaken. We'll find that out. As far as Detroit fell to number four for this reason right here. They did not play against Brooklyn. However, what came into this is a weird situation. Let me go to it. You guys see that there's the four seed. I'm gonna show you guys the crazy scenario just in case that you're not familiar with the tiebreaker situation, because this is actually like it is in the real NFL. As you can see, the Bears and the Lions are both 11-2, as you can see. The next scenario would be to determine who has the most divisional wins. Of course, both have one loss in their division, just to give you guys an example of that. The next scenario is NFC wins. Both are 9-2, identical. AFC, neither has lost in the AFC, although Detroit has two games coming up in the AFC, and so does Brooklyn. We'll get to that in a little bit. Here's where the determination is. This is actually like it is in the real NFL. Brooklyn has scored 505 points on the season, where Detroit has scored 424. That is the difference right now in why Brooklyn has the edge over Detroit for the number three seed in the NFC. Just to give you guys a heads up. As you can see, the Philadelphia Eagles are now the 5 seed at 9-4. Now, we have another tricky situation because, as you can see, the Cardinals are the 6th seed and the Giants are the 7th seed, but Seattle's also having the same record as those two guys. I'm going to go break that situation down. The reason that Arizona still has the edge over the New York Giants is, number one, they have a 3-1 record in the NFC West, whereas the New York Giants is 2-3 in the NFC East. So that's one situation. Next situation. The Giants are 5-5 in the NFC. They're going to get a force this week, so there's going to be 6 wins for them, whereas the Cardinals are 6-4. So that gives the edge to the Arizona Cardinals at the moment. However, what both teams are going to have to watch out for is the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle got a big win against the Texans last week. As far as Seattle, this is the situation for Seattle. Seattle can still make the postseason. However, their schedule is very tough down the stretch. They're going to probably get a forced win in week 17 because Minnesota's probably tanking. However, the next two games, they got to play the Detroit Lions this week, and they will play the Cardinals next week. That game will probably knock one of these two guys out, because just to give you guys a heads up, the New York Giants schedule is the next two games. I think those two teams are tanking. We're going to go look at the three teams' schedules. I know this because I actually made the note of this, but I want to show it to you guys so you can have an idea. Starting off with the Cardinals. As you can see, the Cardinals will play the Houston Texans. The Texans are still in the playoff hunt. We're going to talk about the AFC soon, though. However, they play Week 16 against Seattle, which could not only determine if it was number 2 in the division, that could also eliminate a team out of the postseason race. In Week 17, he has to play the Los Angeles Rams. Here's the situation with that. The Rams is in position to clinch the number 1 seed without having to play that game. However, the Rams would have to play this game only because that could determine whether the Cardinals do or don't make the playoffs. Moving on to the New York Giants. That's 49, excuse me. The Giants have the Chiefs this week. That's a force. He hasn't won a game this season, so that's not even worth. That game's not going to get played. Dallas is going to also be in position where he's getting ready for the draft as well. Week 17 will be played against the New Orleans Saints because the Saints are still in the number 1 seed race, even though LA has one more win than them. So that's the reason why that has to be played. As far as Seattle, the next 2 games will determine Seattle's fate. He has the Lions this week, who already has his division won, but he's playing for seeding. Arizona is the one game, like I said, just to give you guys a heads up in the Madden League, get your votes ready next week. That will be game of the week. Just a heads up. That will be game of the week next week. So those are those 3 schedules. Now, let's go look at, and let me, before I go on to the Rams schedule, let me go ahead and put this out here. No seed has been clinched in this whole conference because every seed is up for grabs. Moving on to the Rams. The Rams have 2 teams that are tanking, which is the 49ers and the Packers. Don't have to worry about playing them games. The Cardinals, Week 17, will be the game that I just talked about. Because if Arizona does find a way to win that game, that now throws LA back in the mix with the other teams that are in the NFC race for the number 1 seed. Moving on to New Orleans. New Orleans will get a force this week because, again, like I said, the Cowboys are getting ready for the draft. Anthony, if you're watching, Tevin will be playing you Week 16. Tevin has the Falcons. He wants to try to shake up the NFC playoff picture, which I have no issue with. And Week 17 will be against the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants. So that's going to be that schedule down the stretch. Moving on to Detroit. Detroit has probably the hardest remaining schedule of the 4 teams that's competing for the 1 seed. He has to play Seattle this week. He'll play against Baltimore next week. You play against Baltimore next week. That should also be a game of the week because Baltimore is competing for the 1 seed over in the AFC. Week 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be playing against the Detroit Lions. That's team. Pittsburgh is not out of the playoff picture. Just a heads up. Even with a loss last week against Denver, he's not out the playoff picture. As for the Brooklyn Barons, he just lost to the New Orleans Saints in the game of the week. It was on our group page. I didn't stream it onto YouTube. But his final 3 games, Philadelphia is still in the playoff hunt. I don't think he can win the division, but truth be told, if he does win this game, there is an opportunity for him to sneak on the division because I believe, he didn't lose this season. So the division would be over with a victory for the Brooklyn Barons. But he has to play the Chargers and Broncos, who are fighting for the number 1 seed in the AFC West. They're trying to win that division. That division is still up for grabs. And that should cover the NFC, NFC, excuse me. Let's move over to the AFC. The AFC is as follows. The Nighthawks still remain as the number 1 seed over there. He just won. Also, just a heads up, Sean, you clinched your division. Congratulations. The division had not won a division before this. So congratulations on winning the division. Jay Lee is still the number 2 seed. The 3 seed is still the Jaguars. The Jaguars, he clinched his division with a victory over Arizona. Congratulations. Number 4 seed at the moment is the LA Chargers. The 5th seed is Cincinnati. The 6th seed is the New England Patriots at 8-5. Number 7 seed, now there's been a twist in this race. The number 7 seed is now the Denver Broncos. So as you see, Both teams in the AFC West are in the playoffs at the moment. However, the Broncos only have a head-to-head advantage over Pittsburgh because he beat Pittsburgh. That's the reason why. So last week, I believe Buffalo was in the playoff picture. I don't know. He wasn't in the playoff picture last week. Excuse me for that. So moving on, let's get ready to talk about the AFC. Now, as far as the AFC, let's go to the standings so I can give you guys a heads up of what's the situation in the AFC. Let's move over to the AFC. At this moment, I'm going to break down the seeds. Right now, the Nighthawks is 12-1. The only loss came to the Jaguars. He has not clinched. Just give you guys this heads up. He has not clinched the number one seed because Jacksonville had a forced win against him a few weeks ago. So if he was to lose any game and they finish with 2 losses, the Jaguars can still jump him for seeding. Just to give you guys a heads up on that, in case you didn't know. As far as the number 2 seed, Baltimore has not won its division yet because Cincinnati has the 1-0 edge on their game a couple weeks ago. However, he has the edge over Jacksonville. That's the reason why he's the number 2 seed at 11-2 right now. Jacksonville, I just explained it to you guys as well. Now, here's the scenario for these 3 teams here. Baltimore has 3 playable games down the stretch. He has to play Pittsburgh this week. He has Detroit next week in Detroit. And Cincinnati in Cincinnati. That could still be up for the division title, depending on what Cincinnati does. So that's to give you a heads up about Baltimore. Jacksonville has the Titans and Colts, who are both tanking in his division. So that's 2 wins out the way. Depending on if the Houston Texans was to get a victory this week, that game could or could not be played. So that's just a heads up. So it could be potentially that could have been his last game last week until the playoffs. But that's just a heads up for now. So Alan, just be on standby. That could be a game you may have to play. You may not have to play that game. So just to give you a heads up on that. 4th seed right now. This week is Chargers and Broncos. Now, normally this would have been game of the week. However, for the league, I'm gonna still put this up. You will earn a +4 for the correct pick of this game between Chargers and Broncos. That poll will be available after this stream is over. Just to give you a heads up. Now moving on as far as the playoff picture in the AFC, we'll start off with New England. Right now, okay, first we'll start off with Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 10-3. They're probably going to clinch the playoff berth within the next 3 weeks. Let's go to Bengals schedule. Let's go over here. The Nighthawks, the Bears, and the Ravens is the final 3 games left on the schedule. So the Nighthawks and Ravens game will be played. It will be played. However, Jason, it is up to you if you want to play Week 16 and try to play spoiler. You have that option of doing that. Just to give you a heads up. Week 17 is the game against the Baltimore Ravens. That probably will determine the division. Let's go to the New England Patriots. Excuse me, everyone. My apologies on that against the Patriots. So the Patriots is going to get a force this week because the Colts are tanking. However, next week, we got a game against the Buffalo Bills, who we have not talked about yet. We're going to talk about the in the hunt team soon. And then the Nighthawks is week 17. So depending on how the Buffalo game goes in week 16 is going to determine what happens with this game right here, just to give you guys a heads up. So that's the New England Patriots. As far as the Denver Broncos and Chargers, who's fighting for the division title, their schedule's pretty interesting down the stretch. They got the winner of this game is going to be in position to win this division. The Browns is the game next week, so I'll end up having to play Ty next week because I'll get on to the Cleveland Browns soon. And week 17 is against the Bears. The Bears is going to be competing for a top seed at the particular time. The division may not be over for the Broncos at that point, depending on the winner of this game. As far as the Chargers still have the same. They both play the same schedule. They got the Bears, they got the Browns, and they got each other this week. So just to be on the lookout for that. So that's going to determine that spot there. Now, moving on to the teams in the hunt. Let's go back to the standings before I go into the. Before I go into this, let's go into the standings real quick. Now, as you can see, the Chargers currently is the seventh. The Broncos are the seventh seed because of the tie-breaking win over Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh has a 5-6 record in the AFC. Still, they would have the edge over. Let's go down over Buffalo because Buffalo hasn't played a lot of divisional games. Right now, Buffalo's 5-4 in the division. Buffalo currently sits behind Pittsburgh for the number 9 seed. As you can see, the reason I'm even pointing this out is those records are identical. Now, there's still 2 teams left that I have not discussed. The Cleveland Browns are 6-7. The chances of them making the playoffs still stands because the Broncos and Chargers will have to face them in the next 3 weeks. In the last 2 games, that division will be playing that team right there. Houston is still in the mix right now because of that. However, if Houston loses the game this week, that postseason chance is over simply because the Browns have a win against them head-to-head, and Pittsburgh has a win against them head-to-head. So the Texans is playing for the playoff life this week. Just to give you guys a heads up on that. So the schedule is coming up for those games for the teams that are outside the playoff picture is going to be as follows. Let's go back to the scheduling. Buffalo got a big win last week against Atlanta. Their last 3 games, the Dolphins are auto for the rest of the season. Week 16 will be their game against the Patriots. As far as the Cleveland Browns, the Raiders is tanking, so the Browns will be 7-7. So you may hear the Browns back in the playoff hunt conversation next week. And then the Broncos and Chargers, that's going to be a determination in the AFC playoff picture as well. So that game is going to be a big matter. But the Browns cannot afford to lose a game or the Browns season is over. As far as the Houston Texans, let's go look at the Houston Texans schedule. The Houston Texans is scheduled to play the Cardinals this week. That game has implications on both conferences. So that game we played, if he loses this game, he's more than likely probably not going to play the rest of the season. You got the Jaguars and then the Niners are taking as well. So that's the determination of the schedule. As far as game of the week this week so far, it's going to be, I'm going to point it out. Let's see. So Giants, you don't have to play. Cardinals and Texans, you will have to play. Let's go. Jaguars, you don't have to play. Browns, you're not playing. Saints, you're not playing. Bears and Bucks will be a fair sale unless these 2 guys chooses to play. Packers and Vikings will be a fair sale unless these guys choose to play. Seattle and Detroit, you do have to play your game. Heads up, you got to play your game. Patriots, you got to win. Bears and Eagles, there's another game that we played. Falcons, Panthers, that's going to be a fair sim unless Ted wants to play that game. Steelers and Ravens will be played. Rams got a forced win. Knights, Hawks, and Bengals is game of the week. Put that note in your head, whoever you're going to pick. That poll will be up after this stream is over. Nighthawks and Bengals is game of the week. Bills got a force. Broncos and Chargers will be played. The winner of that game would be in the lead for the division title. So that's your schedule for the week. I will make sure to post it again after this stream is over. So that's just to give you guys a heads up. Let's go to the statistics real quick. I said I was going to update you guys on that. As far as the yearly award race, Jonathan Taylor still leads the MVP race. At number 1, Kyler Murray is number 2, Joe Mixon is number 3. Starting off with the AFC Offensive Player of the Year, still is Joe Mixon at the moment. Kyler and Marquise Brown is behind at 2 and 3. Defensive Player of the Year has changed this week, to be honest with you guys. Anthony Adams is the AFC Defensive Player of the Year at the particular moment. Offensive Rookie of the Year right now, Malik Willis of the Patriots is number 1 in this race, with Chris Brown Jr. from Cleveland being number 2, John Metchie's number 3. And then you got Jaden Haskell's 4th and Jalen James is 5th. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Anthony Adams is leading that race as well, with Smoke Monday being at number 2, Brandon Joseph being at 3rd, Derek Stingley being at 4th, and Amari Burney being at 5th. Best quarterback race right now is Kyler Murray is in the lead, with Kaepernick and Herbert at 2 and 3 respectively. Best running back race right now, Joe Mixon is number 1, with Austin Eckler and Travis Etienne at 2 and 3. Best receiver race, number 1 and number 2 is Rondale Moore and Marquise Brown. So one of the Ravens receivers is going to probably win best receiver of the year. Calvin Ridley's 3rd, Michie's 4th, Hasselwood is 5th. Best offensive lineman right now looks like it's going to be Ronnie Stanley, with Bulaga and Linder from Jacksonville being 2 and 3. Best defensive lineman, Josh Allen is number 1. Calais Campbell is 2nd, with Chase Young at number 3, and Noah Smith surprisingly at number 4. Best linebacker, Patrick Queen is number 1, with Miles Jack at number 2, and Caleb Von Chason at number 3, with 4th being Foye Oluokun. Best defensive back race right now, number 1 is Tony Brown out of Cincinnati, with number 2 being Stephon Gilmore, 3rd being Anthony Adams, and 4th being C.J. Henderson. Best kicker right now, Chris Boswell is leading that race. Now, moving over to the NFC, Jonathan Taylor leads the Offensive Player of the Year race as well. Defensive Player of the Year right now is Troy Apke at number 1. Let me go back. Excuse me, I messed up. So Saquon is 2 and Spencer Rattler being 4. Defensive Player of the Year, Troy Apke is number 1. Isaiah Palomalu is number 2, with Jabril Peppers being 3rd and Ventura Miller being 4th. Offensive Rookie of the Year looking like Spencer Rattler's in the league for that, with Isaiah Spiller at number 2, Sean Shivers is 3rd, and Zamir White is 4th. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Isaiah Palomalu is in position for that award, with Ventura Miller at number 2, Evan Fields out of Seattle with number 3, and Marcus Hook at number 4. Best quarterback race right now, leading it is Daniel Jones out of the Giants, with Spencer Rattler and Jared Goff being 2 and 3 respectively. Best running back, of course, is going to be Jonathan Taylor at number 1, with Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard being number 2 and number 3. Best receiver right now, Odell Beckham is number 1. Darius Slayton is number 2. Keenan Allen is 3rd, with Rico Gafford and Tyler Lockett being 4th and 5th. Best offensive lineman, Quentin Nelson is number 1. Teron Armstead is 2nd. Brandon Surf is number 3. Best defensive lineman, Joey Bosa now leads that race at number 1, with Chandler Jones being 2nd and Jadeveon Clowney being 3rd. Best linebacker, Ventura Miller is number 1, with Jamin Davis and Deion Jones being 2 and 3. Best defensive back, Troy Apke at 1, with Jabril Peppers being 2 and Evan Fields being number 3. Best kicker is Graham Gano at the moment, with Greg Zuerlein at 2nd and Jake Elliott at number 3. That's just to give you a heads up of the yearly award race. Now, for guys that have not paid attention to what I was saying last week, if you break a seasonal NFL record, you will earn a +2 per the award, the record that's been broken. So, as you see, Tua broke the record with Shaq broke the record in year 1 with the Dolphins. Passing touchdowns, he broke it with there. But Kyler Murray is closing in on that record right now. So Kyler Murray could potentially be competing for that race. Rushing yards, Jonathan Taylor won it back-to-back with the rushing title at 1 and 2 respectively. Rushing touchdown, Jonathan Taylor broke it this year with 35. As you saw, the closest was LaDainian Thomas in 2006. Receiving yards, Marquise Brown broke it the previous game in that 90-7 debacle against the Chiefs. I'm sure a lot of you seen that game. That game wasn't worth watching. But anyways, Marquise Brown finished number one. Then of course that's the rest of the race. Receiving touchdown race right now, Marquise Brown is actually one shy of Randy Moss's record against with the Patriots in 2007. So that could be a potential +2 for him coming up. Catches, nobody's going to do that because don't nobody force feed your receivers in this league. Good thing as far as that. Nobody's in the sack race right now. Nobody's in the defensive interception race right now. So that's just to give you a heads up on that as well. So that's to give you this heads up on this league. Again, if you have any +2s, plus anything that have not been done, DM me now while I am on. Some of you have already contacted me. So I get on that as soon as the stream is over. I'm going to go ahead and post the game of the week, and I'm going to pick 2 games with playoff implications where if you pick the correct winner, it's +4. There's only one game of the week, just a reminder, but there's going to be 2 other games listed for an opportunity to earn a +4. Winner of OKC Cincinnati gets a +6 and a chance to upgrade either a normal to a star or a star to a superstar. So good luck, everybody. Well, actually, let me do one more thing so I don't have to post it in the group chat. I want you guys to see it firsthand for yourselves. As far as the top 10 draft pick race, let's go down the line. We're going to go to the Chiefs first. I think they were still number 1. They've actually moved to number 2. So the Chiefs is number 2 pick in the draft. The 49ers is now number 1. I want to say third last week was the Dolphins. Let me go make sure. I'll do this real quick. The Dolphins has the 3rd pick right now in the top 10 via Tennessee. I want to say the number 4 pick. Let me go look. Give me a second, everyone. Okay, so Vikings, you have 5 and 9 in the top 10. I'm going by the teams that was in the top 10 last week. That's how I'm going by showing you guys this right now. The Panthers are the 7th pick in the draft. Packers, you are now the 6th pick in the draft. I think you were number 7 last week. Let's go to another team. I want to say we got to go to the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers is the 8th pick in the draft. The Colts, you don't have a first round pick, so I got to go find out where in the world you are. Give me a second. Let me look for that pick. So you don't have that pick. Packers is 6th pick, as I mentioned. The Raiders is who I forgot. The Raiders is the 4th pick in the draft now. Okay, let me see. Am I missing someone else? This is Chicago Bears. Chicago's the 10th pick now in the draft. So as you see, if you were competing for the top 10 pick in the draft, you just got an opportunity to see where you are picking in the draft. But again, who has the Colts pick? I can't see the stream. Let me go look. I want to say this Jay Lee. Hold on, my bad. I'm looking at the rosters. Excuse me, everyone. My bad. I want to say you said that you have the Colts pick. No, I did it right. Oh, y'all. My bad. I want to say you said that you have the Colts pick. Okay, let's go to the Ravens. Because if you have the Colts pick, the Colts is picking. Okay, the Colts is not in the top 10. I'm not sure who has the Colts pick, but let me go look. Excuse me, y'all. I cannot remember where that. It's a pick out there that I cannot remember. Give me a moment. I'm trying to go. I'm giving you guys if you hadn't seen your draft pick races or what your draft picks looking like right now, you're getting a chance to see it. So I want to say I did show all top 10 picks, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I showed all the top 10 picks. So okay, that's okay. I can't. So here's the thing, Anthony. I cannot see your name right now because you gotta sign up with the StreamYard thing so I can be able to see what's going on. My bad, guys. But again, this has been your stream this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all let me know if y'all enjoyed it, man, because I've had fun doing this so far. So again, I'm about to post all this stuff in the group chat, post the stuff on the group page. Y'all, let's get ready to get some good games in. And again, I'm about to go ahead and post which games need to be played this week. So y'all have a good rest of the evening.